Hello, everyone. It looks like I am live. Took me a while. So welcome to my live. I haven't done a live in, I think, a year. And this is a live that I'm talking about Beste Zangers, which I'm a huge fan of after watching it in 2019 and also 2020. And I'm so excited for 2021. So please, if you're here, tell me where you're from. If you're watching, I'd love to hear from you and where you guys are from and how excited you are with Beste Zangers. Now, let's see, I have to apologize. I was originally going to have this chat at the end of the last season, 2020. And what happened is I had one of my videos got a strike. And with the strike, I was not allowed to live stream, which was really crazy because they had nothing in the description or anything about having, being blocked from live streaming. I had nothing wrong, but I just had a block. And so not a block, sorry, a strike. There's a difference between a block. A block is when you upload something and the copyright filters basically block everything in the whole. You can't see it. I can see it, but nobody else can see it. So that's like sad, but it's not a strike. A strike is actually a takedown where the copyright owners or whoever is in charge of copyright will actually put a block and a strike. And so if you get 3 strikes in 1 month, that's how you can lose your channel. So that is the issue with blocks and strikes. And that's just what it is. It's dangerous, rough writing here when we're doing reaction videos. I mean, I love it, but problems can come up, but it's not stopping me. It's not stopping me at all. So yeah, I'd love to hear you guys say something. So I'm just going to say hi in the chat. Awesome. So I barely got here today. So I'm so excited to talk about Beste Zangers. I'm excited about the new season. And yeah, I'm hoping some Dutch people or Dutch fans of the show can come on and speak, because what I was planning on doing all this time is talking about last season, which was season 2020. Now, I began studying or reacting to Beste Zangers back in 2019 with Jansen, of course. And I had heard of Floor from one of my students years ago, got to see her work. And of course, now I'm huge fan of Floor, huge Floor fan. And I really fell in love with the show with that season because I really enjoyed all the artists. As a voice teacher, this has so warmed my heart because I've been definitely, as an American with American reality TV shows, they're always so competitive. They're just not very classy. It's really hard. Oh, hi, Suzette. Great to see you. Thank you so much for being here today. And you may not have known, I've been recruited for reality TV show United States years ago. I was approached by America's Got Talent. I got a private audition for that. I also was approached by The Voice, and I auditioned for that as well. And in both cases, I was in the next level up where I didn't have to do the mass auditions, and I just got to see people privately for the most part. But the thing about those shows is that they are not really looking for the best talent, at least in the American version. They're looking for people that have an interesting story, or they have a set of characters that they are planning to have. And then it's not very honest on those shows. And I hate the competition because I don't like to answer the question of who's my favorite singer or who is better. I mean, when you are at a certain level of singing, there is no better. It really is only what you prefer. Hi, guys. Okay. Hi, DC from Amsterdam. Yes, Barzorista. I'm trying to keep my glasses off. Yes, excellent. I know we are so excited for this season. And I think that with Floor Jansen and her popularity from all over the world, I think she brought a lot of fans to the Beste Zangers show. And I know it's spread across other countries, but this seems like to be where it originated. And I just love the singing culture that Beste Zangers represents, where it's not about a competition. It's not who is the best singer. Everybody brings something to the mix. And like I say, singing is like ice cream or a flower. It's like arguing about who likes chocolate and who likes caramel, or who likes roses and who likes daffodils. It's pointless. We want the garden of music people, so we enjoy that so much. So it really depends on your personal taste. And what I also love about Beste Zangers is just being a performer myself and understanding great performances and how they can happen, because of with the whole concept of Beste Zangers, you're guaranteed an amazing performance because that band is so amazing. In fact, I think they were a little underutilized last season. I mean, I did love last season for various reasons, but I'm really happy that they're going back to more of a diverse type of music. I think it'll be more exciting for everybody. Hey, good evening. Awesome. I'm so glad you guys can make it. Yes, and I'm so excited with Annika. I'm not familiar with Roel, but I will get to know them. In fact, I actually pulled up all the names because names are not my strength in any way. So I can remember. I always remember faces and I remember singers, but I don't remember names. Yes, that's why Glennis Grace got on AGT. Yes, exactly. I mean, AGT has helped a lot of people, but it's cast. So when I was approached by people from reality TV, they were the casting producers. People don't realize that. Casting producers were not musicians. They were not people that actually maybe had musical training of any sort, but they were looking for talents, which is what they wanted to have a cast. Now, the thing about Beste Zangers, obviously they are also casting as well, but it's not manipulated. It's actually to get a good mix of people for the chemistry of the show, because it's not really a competition. It's more about almost like karaoke, I guess. Not like it's karaoke, but it's just a community. It's community singing. And that's what people have done throughout millennia. Let's see, karaoke is just the more recent way that people can share their singing with each other. But prior to the electronic age, there were always gathering places where people would sing together. There was Irish drinking songs. There were people go to pubs and sing for each other. This is really normal. Or we would have festivals, whether it was church or other sort of seasonal festivals where seasonal songs would be sung and people would sing together. I know I was fortunate. You may not know that I went to Sweden because my mother's family is from Sweden, and I got to go to a Swedish Midsummer Festival. So I got to experience that really traditional, pre-Christian ritual of singing and dancing, people coming together. That's what it's all about. So that's what I also love about Beste Zangers, because it's kind of bringing that together, and you can learn so much from their careers and what they're doing. And so I think that's so educational when they tell the stories of their personal background and where they trained and which bands they were in and how they got started. So helpful for singers that are aspiring singers. And of course, what's going on right now, there's lots of limitations for people traveling, singing performances. So we are even more hungry for these really amazing performances that we're going to see in Beste Zangers. And the thing is, I know they've already pre-recorded it, so we just have to wait and go through it. But I'm so excited about it. All right, so let's talk about, if you guys have any questions, let me know. You know me, I can just talk, but I'd love to answer any questions, or, we're all so excited about the new season. And for me, it's a little harder for me. I usually see the videos on my feed on YouTube, but then I have to watch the shows. So I usually like to react to things before, because then I'm reacting to just what I feel, the emotional content and just the feeling. And then later I'll go watch the shows, because I have to commit to like reading all the subtitles, even though my Dutch is getting a little bit better, but I'm still a baby at that. All right, Suzette says, Simon Cowell asked her to come on AGT, and for the show, he acted like he didn't know her at all. Totally. That happens all of the time. And they also, they pick people, they call that the ringers. That's an American term. A ringer is a professional that is brought into an amateur situation. And sometimes ringers are identified as such. Like there's a lot of church choirs, like especially in Catholic churches that are big Catholic churches in the United States, they will hire section leaders, soloists, and then there's going to be volunteers. And that's kind of in the open. People know that those people have been chosen to be a section leader. But there are other places where they don't talk about it. They actually pay somebody to come in, and they're just going to pretend like Simon, like, oh, I never saw you before. Oh, you're so amazing. Yeah, that's not honest. That's not real. And that has happened for most of them, because basically they want to have a for sure thing. Like, again, Carrie Underwood, and I love Carrie. She's great. She's a great singer. But I'm suspicious that they basically told her to dress like a country girl with like almost a piece of hay sticking out of her hair and stuff like that. And it's not honest. Now, the other thing about those shows, when they're going in front of the judges, anyone who's going to be filmed in front of the judges has already probably been to 3 prior auditions. So that's how it works, in that different casting producers are going to watch you several times. It's almost like a job interview. So by the time you're going to the judges, guess what? They tell people what to wear. They tell people what to say. They tell people how to act. And then the judges, even in The Voice, I'm sorry, like everybody knows who's coming up. Again, it's not honest. It's not honest. And so, but they act like it is because it's just a show. It's just fake. It's totally fake. And I've actually had other voice teachers have had students on the show. And I have some personal friends that actually were on the Sing Off back in the day. And I heard what happened to them. Very manipulative, pulling songs away, telling people what they have to sing. So they basically kind of can maneuver the ones they want to win versus the ones they don't want to win. And again, it's not honest. Okay, so let me look at these comments. Totally agree. Yes. Okay, so, and American people do not like a foreigner, so no chance to win. Yeah, typically. Yeah. No, and it's very contentious. I mean, they play off contention, and they usually will pick somebody who's like really dramatic and kind of rude just to kind of stir things up. That's not any fun. And there's a lot of tension in that. And yeah, I'm not a huge Simon Cowell fan. And I've been there, I've auditioned, I've taken auditions, and I could really tell. My last audition that I did was in Seattle in The Voice. I think it was 2014. And I was approached by a casting producer, and I sent in a video and I got in. And actually one of my students actually got in. And the irony about this is she lives in Holland now. And she went through that first audition, and then I didn't. But I was watching all the people, and I could tell that there's some amazing singers that walked out of the room, because pretty much everybody on this level is a professional or has performed experience when I auditioned. But there were a lot of great singers that walked out of the room kind of mad. And then there were singers that I thought were just okay. They were just okay, get passed on. And my students was one of those. And I figured that she would, because I kind of was looking at what they were doing, and they were looking at casting characters. And the characters, so the people that passed that audition, they invited them to do a casting call where they would talk on the camera and answer questions and things like that. And so then they told them, well, if you don't hear anything in 3 months or 6 months, whatever it was, you're not on the show. And if you hear from us, then you'll get on. Now, my student didn't get on the show, and it wasn't that she's not talented, and it wasn't that she's not gorgeous and she fit the mold, but she was a very quiet person. I mean, she has a striking stage presence, but she's not like me. She doesn't talk. And I'm pretty certain that's why she didn't get on the show, because, you know, people that are more private, people who are not going to blab about their family issues, things like that, they're not invited on those shows. You have to be crying or like have some sob story. And, you know, the worse, the better. Cancer always wins. And so that's kind of what it's about. But that's those shows. They're very manipulative. So, okay, so I'm going to look and see all the comments. Awesome. Great. Oh, hi, Nook. Awesome. Yes. Hi from Norway. Thank you so much. This is my first time I've gotten those like super chats. So thank you. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Yes. It's all scripted. I also don't like how they, treat classical musicians. Totally. And the thing for me, if you're a teacher, like you're a voice teacher, a music teacher, they will try to shred you. So I've seen that again and again. And then the other thing is some of these auditions, you can edit, trust me, you can edit anything. And when you actually go for those shows, you have to sign a disclaimer that says that they can use your image in any way you want, including be dishonest. So you sign that. So they can portray you anyway. They can make you look like a jerk. They can make you look stupid. You can make you edit where you sing bad. You're not very good. Yeah, awesome. Okay, so let's keep going. Yes, okay. So I'm so excited that Annika is going to be on stage at the coming. We are so excited. And yes, I've heard so much. I've done some reactions to her, and I'm super excited. She's probably closer to my age. She's the one that still is rocking it. and still is, inspirational. Yeah, godmother to Floor Jansen and made Floor want to be a metal singer. I know. I got chills already just thinking about it. I'm so excited. And then we see how many of those shows don't really work on the Dutch TV. We don't like to see fake people. Good. I don't like it either. America's a big country, unfortunately, and there's a lot of different types of people, but I like real. I like real singing. That's why I love Beste Zangers. Huge fan. Okay, and then Dutch Hammer. I'm trying to not put my glasses on. I'm happy that the Dutch television is not glitter and glamour. Most of the programs are about normal people or celebrating normal things. That's what I like about the Dutch culture. It just seems like it's so inviting. Everybody's welcome. And it's just like good time, just hanging out with friends and just celebrating life in the moment. Yeah, it's beautiful. And like I said, my student does live there. And hopefully she'll get on the show someday or does some more performing. She fell in love with a musician on the show. I don't want to say her name because I don't have permission to, but she was on a tour, a jazz tour, and she fell in love with a bass player who happened to be a Dutchman. All right. I'm happy the Dutch television. Okay, I thought you already did that one. Also on the Dutch Voice, people are invited to take part. That's awesome because singing is a community thing. That's the thing. I think there's a false paradigm that, oh, I'm singing and then you're the audience and stuff like that. But no, it's this community. Singing is for the community. That's why it's so powerful when you sing together or you're even in a concert together. There's all this love and warmth and feeling, and then that energy goes to the performers. See, that's what's so cool about Beste Zangers is that they bond. It's like summer camp for them, and then they do these performances, and they're like in this enclosed place, and they get to know each other. Because when you study their music, that's going to help you kind of dig into that person. So it gets really personal. And that's what, again, is what's so powerful. I wish it was in the United States, but I'm certain that the producers would ruin it. They wouldn't make it to the honesty about community, right? Okay. So yes, we love the Dutch television. Okay. American seems over a bit dramatic. Yeah, right. I totally agree. But, I grew up in kind of a European home because my grandmother was from Sweden. So I kind of grew up with a lot of Swedish culture because I grew up in an ethnic home. And that was unlike other Americans that I know who had been here for centuries. Now, my dad's family has been here since the Pilgrim era. So I'm kind of like super American on that side. And then, I'm second generation in here from Sweden. Okay, awesome. And yes, I hate the dramatic stuff. Idol was the first few seasons. Yes, and you could actually see the winners get famous, but then it went downhill. Yeah, because it's too controlled. And when something is too controlled, it's not going to flourish. It's like a plant or it's like a person. If it's so much control, it's going to be stifled. It's going to be stifled versus given the opportunity. A plant needs water, a plant needs air, it needs sunlight, it needs care, and then the plant's going to thrive. If you give it what it needs, it's going to thrive. If it's being controlled, or if there's another plant that's taking over, then that plant's not going to do well. So that's what it's simple, but drama is part of American TV. In fact, I don't even watch TV. I never watch TV. Awesome. Yes. Love the Dutch though. Let's see. The year I can't wait for Joe Buck, but especially Dutch Turkish Kazul. Yes. Yeah. Wow. It looks like there's a lot of variety this year. And that's the other thing every season there's such variety, except for last season. There was a variety of people, but it looks like they decided to do the singer-songwriter. And I did love it. I'm guessing that it probably wasn't as profitable as a deeper season. Not that I didn't love the singers, because I really did. And I also really do appreciate songwriting, great songwriting. And there's some awesome songs on that show as well, and some beautiful performances. I really did love everybody. I just fell in love with singers. That's my job. That's my job, is to help them and get them better. So I've worked with everybody from complete beginners that can't even match pitch to professional singers that are making their debut at Berlin Opera, or they're performing in other places. Yeah, so it's fun. And I've actually worked with some semi-famous people. One of them was my classmate. His name is Mike Wansley, and he toured with Macklemore with the very famous song Thrift Shop, and he wrote that. So he's basically one of my friends that I've known for years, and he became famous with thrift shop as well. So that's kind of fun. Small world, right? Okay, let's see. Okay, gosh, there it is. I'm not going to put my hand there. In Dutch, we have a saying of domoor normaal. My Dutch isn't good enough. So dan door je. See, I get confused. I can't do it. I'm not going to embarrass myself. It means act normal, and then you are already crazy. I think I've heard that phrase, and I think everybody has their own crazy, and that just allows people to be themselves, because we all are different, and we all have different things that we're interested in, or talents, and that's the beautiful thing. Life is like a garden of flowers. Why control it? Let it all be. Right. Yes. Okay. And let's see, where am I? Yes. Love that phrase. What I like about Beste Zangers is that there are always singers between them who I don't know. This way I get to know the new Dutch singers. I know, sometimes it takes time to get to know the singers. And even on the show, sometimes some singers are a little bit in the background. Like there was one singer on last season, I thought he had an amazing voice, but he just seemed a little intimidated sometimes. I mean, I get it. When you're with these masterful singers, sometimes you're like, I don't know if I belong here. They're so good. So that's what's interesting. All right. Yes. And then Dutch television knows glamour, but then it goes over the top because it becomes hilarious. Even the singers themselves don't take themselves serious. Yes. Awesome. And I am the only one of the good with sound problems. Oh no. I think the sound should be working. I don't know. Maybe it's just you. I know sound settings can be really difficult. If you use another program that's using the sound settings, sometimes it actually hijacks things. So I'm hoping that it works. Yeah. So actually, I'm going to move my browser. Ooh, the sound is good for me. Okay. Thank you for checking in. I appreciate that. Yeah. I'm just so excited. I've been waiting so long. And then once I was done with the 3-month with the blocked video, then everything is like, it was over it. So, but just let me see if I can talk about this last season. I'm going to move my browser so I can read it. Okay. Yes. Awesome. Yes. So last year, songwriters, and I felt that was an interesting choice. The Jansen 2019 happened, and I got to fix things. Sorry. So I can see 2 browsers. I hate doing browser windows, but I want to see you guys' comments. I'm so happy that you're here. Awesome. I wasn't sure. Cindy for the next season, because I know then that's what we're going to be talking about, right? Yes, it's so excited. Okay. Yeah, I like it. The singers are challenged to get out of their own music comfort zone or alter the song for their comfort zone. I love that part too, because it is fun to explore other genres, and this is a safe place to do it. And having worked with a lot of professional singers, they don't want to like do that on their shows. I mean, they want to, that's why they come to me. It's like if they want to learn something new or get a new skill, they come to me so they can work that out on private before they're going to share it with their audiences. But with this show is it helps you jump out of things, or you can switch it up, make it different. And I love switching up covers. They are so great. Yeah, too bad that Beste Zangers came along too late to feature this other band. Yes, well, maybe they'll still come around. I mean, if the bands are not there anymore, we can't do it. But I'm really happy to see too that all in Beste Zangers, we have singers from all different ages. There's young ones in their 20s just getting started out, all the way up to like in their 60s. And that's the other thing about the American music business, is that we don't have that diversity of ages right now, unfortunately. It's pretty sad. It used to be like in the 80s when you see We Are the World, there are singers of all different genres, all different ages, people that were in the 60s, Dionne Warwick and all kinds of people. And now it's just about the kids. It's just about like Katy Perry's and Ariana Grande, and it's boring. It's boring to me, but that's okay. Some of them are great. I do love Silk Sonic. I love that new project. We are all very, very excited about that kind of throwback music with Bruno Mars and Anderson .Paak. So that is an American group that I'm very happy with. And then groups like Lily Act Family Band. I mean, but they're not really the mainstream. Unfortunately, American pop music has been focused mostly, or popular music, on singer solo artists that they can control and tell them what to sing. That's what's going on, in my opinion. Yes. Best example. Oh yeah. Maria Fiselier. Yes, that was one of the people I reacted to that from a different season, and I loved her. She blew me away. She was amazing, because rapping is a different gift, and you have to bring a certain swag to it, but you also have to like enunciate it and be in the style. She did so well with it. That was really fun. Yes. And then on the international level, I see that most great singers being born that do not really need competition stage unless they are looking for exposure. Yeah, I mean, it's a choice to do that. I know that there's been a lot of American singers and singers from overseas that are doing like the Masked Singer in China. I found it quite interesting that some of these singers that probably need a little boost have been on that show. And I have not done reactions to that show. Unfortunately, a lot of the Asian TV shows are the ones that are really strict on copyright and blocking. So I kind of need to stay away from that. I mean, I have done some reactions where I actually block out the video, but then with some of the shows, it's not, what's the point? But, you know, if it's just music only, it's fine. But yeah, unfortunately, I found that a lot of Korean and Japanese video TV shows are the harshest on copyright as well, which is unfortunately, yes. Okay, you said Digurut, maybe that's the way you said it, has retired. And yes, I'm guessing. Unfortunately, contracted Parkinson's. Oh no, that is hard. It's kind of like Linda Ronstadt in the United States. She's one of the beautiful singer, had a multiple career. She was the singer that could sing anything. She sang classical, she sang musical theater, she sang Hispanic music, she sang pop music, she sang early jazz, she sang rock. Oh my goodness, such a huge career. But yeah, I think she has Parkinson's or something else too that really has affected her voice, which is extremely sad. We need to treasure all these artists while we have them. And luckily with YouTube, there's a lot of art that's there. When I was growing up in college, we had to dig for it and search for it or go to record stores. We didn't have access to this music at our fingertips, which is really, really great. Yeah, so awesome. So I just want to talk about last season just a minute. So we had Diggy Dex, Millow, Miss Montreal, Stef Boss, Suzan and Freek, Tabitha, I think that's the Dutch, and Wulf. Yes. Yeah. And actually, I really thought that was a nice mix. They really did have a variety of singers that sang different genres. And the thing about the season, it seems like there's mostly when I think of singer-songwriter music, it's usually very lyrically intense, that's telling a story. And it tends to be a bit more subtle and not quite so rambunctious rock music, but more storytelling songs, which I love. There's some really beautiful singing and storytelling, but I felt, as people have said, the band didn't get a much workout because there were simpler arrangements and they were not as diverse musically. There were some, but not as, and we did have Diggy Dex, the rapper, and he was very sweet. I really appreciated him. And it was fun that he was a teacher to Tabitha. And now Tabitha actually became one of my favorites, interestingly enough. And the thing about her is, like you said, you see their little video intro, and she seemed like more of an R&B singer. But I loved her presence on the show. I thought she was just had a gorgeous voice. It was just really easy for her. Nothing was too hard. She had a nice presence. And then also, I'm going to say, well, I also was touched by her upbringing, that she lost her father, because my daughter has lost her husband of her child. So I really felt that. And I just love how that we can bring in that emotional healing presence in her story. And then I loved her presence and how she just got so into the lyrics. So she was, I mean, I loved all of them, but I did think that Tabitha was just gorgeous. Yes. Does US TV station pick up the program yet? No, I don't think so. There's very few TV shows, unless we have some sort of cable network that you can cook into. Hello, everyone. Hello, Waymond. Yeah, I have to watch it through Daily Motion, and I think there's somebody on Daily Motion that's been some translations, and they work really hard. So I'm hoping that will happen again. I know that some other people have tried to upload to YouTube, and it doesn't really work with the translations, but I'm hoping, I think his name is Paul. I think he does do translations, and so I'll be looking forward to hearing them, because I know there's probably a lot of English fans. It's not just me, people from all over the world. Oh, Michael Jackson's birthday was yesterday. Oh, happy birthday, Michael. I should have remembered that, but it's been too much stress. But yeah, I should plan a Michael video here soon, because we all dearly, dearly miss him as well. He was another singer that brought people together in this great, great community. Yes. Oh, just for the right. Freek. Is it Freek? Yes. I'm still getting the E's. I'm working on Dutch, but I'm just at a very basic level. And as an American who's worked with many languages, I tend to want to revert to what my American English says. So, but thanks. I always need help with that. Yes. Yeah, and Millow, I also love Millow. He was a very gentle person, and he was very sweet. Great guitarist. The thing about these guys is a lot of them play guitar, and because a lot of singer-songwriters do that. Lovely voice. Miss Montreal was also one of my favorites. I thought she was had that rocker side, and she could just be in the moment too. She was her own person. I was also very captivated by her story about having the stutter, or stutter, and she just didn't care. She just worked right through it. It was really, really awesome. And she was another one of my favorite. I mean, they're all my favorites, but I really did appreciate her performances. And like I said, also Stef Boss, of course, definitely fell in love with him. He was really an interesting performer because he just kind of sometimes sings it, but he's so in the moment, and this he's just this person. And so he could just dig in really deeply, and powerful communicator and I can't even express in words that Stef, especially Stef, that last between Stef Boss and Miss Montreal, Latme, I think I said that right. That was epic. That was so epic. So the thing about the show is even though there was a lot of these singer-songwriter kind of songs, but there's still some epic performances in that season. Yeah. So I really like the performance of Stef. Yep, exactly. I didn't even read that before I saw that. What I really liked is that they didn't practice together. Stef wanted it to be natural, and he had to fate to do it. Now, those guys were such great musicians, and the whole band, they could do it. And they could study it themselves and be in the moment. And it was magical. I'm still getting chills just thinking about it, because it was a great decision. It was a great decision. Yes, it was perfect. And they also got The Voice on the Netherlands as well. Yeah, The Voice, I know that there's been lots of stars, of course, young, what's her name? Annick, Vidhagen. She's a bright talent and definitely is brilliant. And of course, obviously, Angelina Jordan in Norway. So there are, they all these breakout stars that just come out and you're like, dang, they're amazing. The show is still manipulated though. And I think that it's kind of an artifice to pretend that the judges can't see them or they haven't heard about them. I don't agree with that. I think that's fake, because when they audition on The Voice, the casting producers are watching you. See, it'd be one thing if you're behind a screen. Like in America, orchestras, this has been going on a long time. When you're applying as an orchestral musician, like a flute player or a trumpet player, they're always done behind a screen. So they don't take it into account how old they are, what they look like, if they're male or female or whatever. They're not judged on their appearance. It's behind a screen. So if The Voice was truly honest, everything would be behind the screen. It's not really honest with the judging, and they've already heard about it. So again, these are not honest shows. I'm happy that these breakout stars have gotten on the shows, but no, it's not honest. It is not honest. Okay. So what else? It is in the US possible, such a music show with all kinds of genre music. The US is divided into several parts of music, just like country, rock, jazz. Yeah. And they don't really interact, unfortunately. There are some artists that are kind of, I can't remember the names. I can't remember thinking of her name, but there are definitely some artists that are doing more experimental things and changing things up, but they just don't get the radio play. I think a lot of people have now with the internet is a lot of cult followings, and that is not a bad thing, because people can develop huge followings online right now, but they're not on the popular radio. Popular radio in the United States is mostly marketed to 12-year-olds. There used to be what they call the adult contemporary market, and that's just died. It's just not happening, unfortunately, anymore. But you can still find the music. Like, for example, Silk Sonic. I mean, they're kind of reaching out to that marketplace, but I think those guys have hit the jackpot because they appeal to the youth and the older folks. But it used to be there's music that was more segregated, or there's different commercial music genres that were kind of coming together, where now it's just it's too controlled, I think. Yes. Yes, Miss Montreal is such a great person. I know, she seems so real. And yeah, it'd be great to meet her. Like, she's just totally down to earth. And if she makes a mistake, she's like, and you know what? That's the right thing. Here's the deal. Mistakes happen. Even the best pros in the world make mistakes on stage. They'd be lying if they said they didn't, because we've all done it. Everybody. And it doesn't mean if you're not even prepared. Sometimes you prepare everything and then something happens and you go, what happened? How did that happen? We don't know. But the main thing is just you recover and just keep going. That's what pros do. Yes. Yeah, she is such a great person. Hi, Valerie. Hi, Jenny. Thank you so much for being at my live stream. I'm so excited. I feel out of practice because it's been over a year that I've done one, I think. Yes, great for the chat. Ooh, big brother. Ooh, can't wait. I'll get to know all their names, but luckily I have looking at them in the past, and it says, yeah, Sana. Yeah, I can't, still, I'm not really good at pronouncing Dutch straight up yet, is a sweetheart. Her enormous sense of humor, oh yeah, makes her stutter irrelevant. She doesn't really care. Yeah, I love how she just like doesn't even get stressed by that. She would not toss in her hand off remark if she could not get a word out, and everybody would be in stitches. Yeah, she just says what she thinks, and she's so sweet and humble. Because that's what I really liked about the Dutch singers, is that everybody has their own style and their own interests and their own way of singing. But I didn't see a bunch of people like, oh yeah, I'm like the best in the room, or, you know, really pretentious. And of course, I don't think it would work in that format because it's such a bonding and you have to dig in so much to learning about the other singers. That's what's also wonderful, is you get to know them. And so to create those concepts and the songs, it's deep on both sides. So that's great. I said, I just love a Twitch stream with Charlie Carlotta, all enjoying some, oh, good. Yes, Dev. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's too bad he can't be on the show. But yeah, I love Devin. I love Devin and Annika together. They are so great. Hope our country finally gets to discover Annika's amazing collabs after all these years. Yes, and are you talking about for Dutch people? Because I know that happened to Floor, that she was popular all over the world. And when she was on that show, the Dutch people discovered her. And maybe that's Annika too. And yes, I love Devin as well. He is so brilliant and just eye-opening. I've learned so much listening to European music, and I kind of actually like it better overall. But I've been that way for a long time. I've always liked the British groups. It's just more, there's more musical training in your countries than the United States. United States, a lot of people don't know anything. They know nothing about music. They don't know anything about their music culture. It's just sad. They don't know because it's not taught. Yeah. All right. Let's not forget the band, BZ, background singers. They blow me away. Oh, yes. I've been blown away all the time with that band. And the background singers can do anything. And I see them, you know, they're doing everything from rap to, you know, Latin to rock. I mean, it's everything. And it's always amazing. And I love to see them on their iPads. I have an iPad thing like that too. It works so well, so well. Yes. Hi. Yes. Debbie is Canadian. Okay. That makes sense. Yeah. I wonder what part of Canada. Yeah, actually, I'm in Washington State, and so I'm really close to the Canadian border. And supposedly, I have Canadian relatives, probably both on Ontario and in Victoria or BC. Yes, so very close to Canada. And I was there in 2019 before everything got shut down. And so I'm glad that I got to go up there when I could. And I've been to Victoria and Canada quite a bit. And also, when I was on the East Coast, I did some traveling in Montreal and things like that. But yes, and then my dad's father was born in Ontario, so that's why I have Ontarian people, Canadian relatives there. Yes, okay, Vancouver, that's it. Yes, ooh, good. Oh, and someone's going to see Floor in a live show. Have fun. Yeah, I'm sure it's amazing. And so many of these artists, and everywhere, haven't been able to perform very much. So everyone who's performing now is just like so relieved to get out and do it. Yes. The band for Beste Zangers. Yes. Oh, really? That's great. So the band accompanied Floor on her tour. What amazing band. Excellent. Did you see the new leader yet? It was published yesterday. I don't know what you mean by the leader. The leader of, I don't know. Oh, is it going to be for the Beste Zangers? Is there somebody else speaking? I don't know. Let me know. Let me know in the comments. Let me talk about the other singer. Okay, Suzan and Freek. Is that right? Suzan and Freek. They were sweet. It was cute to know that they were a couple and they sang together, but they had this beautiful sound. Suzanne's voice was angelic, totally angelic. I loved all the group singing that they did because they just are really great singers and they're super sweet. And very calming music. It was really nice. Okay, let's see. The band of Beste Zangers. Let's see. Yep. Rick Beto has fought major battles getting his What Makes This Song Great on YouTube. Have I had similar issues? What makes this song great? So sometimes it's hard because of the filters. People, when you do reaction videos, you have several choices. You can do a reaction video, include content, and then it's fine. They don't have a problem with it. Sometimes they'll actually have a claim. So the claim can be sharing. It really depends too if you're monetized, because if you're not monetized, there's certain things aren't going to be an issue. But basically, things can be blocked. So a copyright owner can say, okay, you're not going to see it. Now, normally, if they're going to block things, it's usually because they have another video that looks like it's competition. So if your video that you make is going to stand inside of what another video is, then sometimes they'll block it because they don't want people going to that. And so that becomes problematic. And sometimes things have been blocked after I already uploaded them. Like I did a reaction to Michael Jackson, They Don't Care About Us, the Brazilian version with the drumming. It was super cool. And that had been up for a while. And then at one point they blocked it. And the reason why they blocked it is they created a new version of it. They new edited version for 2020. And so they didn't want anyone seeing the old version. I'm certain of it. So that's what happened. So you have no control over that, unfortunately. And blocks happen and then no one can see it. That's why I have a Patreon that I'm starting to upload some of my block videos there. So just there's a small handful, but yeah, that is an issue. And to be honest, that's the thing when we do reaction videos, we have to kind of take what we can get as far as the copyright. And like I said, I've had a lot more agreeable people giving me the copyright so I can monetize. With the Dutch and the Norwegian and the Scandinavian cultures, they tend to be more gracious with it, which I really like. Yeah, and that's my culture too. That's where my family has been from, Northern Europe for sure. All right, so let me see what else. Are you going to do any more Michael Jackson music? Yeah, I need to do another one. It's been a while. I've done so many, but I want to look for more, especially maybe some older ones and just see what's going to come up. Let's see. Yes, thank you, Chris. Hi from Finland. I've only seen the 2019 season. I need to watch more. Yeah, well, that was a great season. That's where I fell in love with everybody and just Floor and Henk, and they were so awesome. Emma, I loved her too. I loved everybody. Rolf, totally. In Finland, we have the same show called Vin. Okay, I don't know Finnish at all, which means only life. The life's taken down from an old Finnish song. That's cool. I love how each country has taken this concept and then put their own culture spin on it. And that's really sweet because I guess I have like 6% Finnish ancestry. Yeah, that's what they say. But anyway, yeah, I think that's great. And again, because I came from a Scandinavian home, so my grandmother was with me around. Her name was Gunborg. Okay. And so she was very constant in my home life. And it wasn't until I was older as an American that I realized that I kind of grew up in an ethnic home because my family and my mother, and she grew up in San Francisco with a bunch of Scandinavian immigrants as well. So it just was a different environment than the normal American environment for that part of my family. Yes, interesting. Did you watch Eurovision? You know what? Eurovision is blocked to Americans. That was another hard thing, is that they just block it. I don't know why. Why block it? Why can't everybody have fans from that show? But no, I couldn't watch it. I might be able to find it and like maybe Daily Motion or somewhere else, but unfortunately, and they wouldn't even allow me to do any reactions to them. So that was really tough too. So I had to kind of work around that. But unfortunately, no, because I'd love to hear Eurovision. I think some of the songs might be on it, but the whole shows we can't see, unfortunately. Yeah, not fair. Okay. So yeah, I really enjoyed the shows. Rick Beto. Okay, so we're excited for that. Hi from Pakistan. Oh, hey, Mohammed. Yeah, he has been on my Creative Soul Alignment group. So that's the group I talk about at the end of my videos. And so he is from that group. So it's so fun to see you on the live stream. And he gives us a lot of nice, beautiful things on the page there. So it's all about spirituality and creativity, because guess what? They're merged. We're supposed to be creators. And when we create, we express, we're going to make this world a better place. All right. And okay, next, makes sense for small home market based artists to be more sharing. I think so. I think a lot of the ones that are like, for example, Liliac, the family band, whose father and mother, they were from Romania, and they're a kid band. Well, now they're young adults, but it's really fun to see them grow up. That's kind of that niche band. They're independent. They're on the They don't have a record contract. You don't really need to do that anymore. They just are creating their own content, and they've been on America's Got Talent too. So I think that makes sense. But I think it's better to have a great fan base that loves what you do than try to go mainstream. And unfortunately, the contracts now are so controlling. Notice that there's hardly any bands. It used to be there was a lot of bands, but I think in the American record labels they can control artists, like a single artist, more than a band, because a band is like a democracy. And so they don't have as many bands now. Again, Bruno Mars and Anderson .Paak and Silk Sonic, that's like the only band that's been around that is now actually doing stuff, but they have a lot of clout because of Bruno Mars. So, and he probably has a lot of business sense to make that better. But I wish there was more bands available in our marketplace, but at least we have the internet. At least we have YouTube. All right. Let's see. You should do Devin Townsend Earth Day live at the Royal Hall. I know. I should do that. And I've been waiting to do like another music, we'll see, the death of music. The thing about him is sometimes the truth of the matter is that I usually do a lot of filming around my studio, and sometimes I just have an hour or time, and some of his videos are really long. And so I have to like give more time to get into them because they're great. They're really epic, and I love it. But I just sometimes only have time to do really short things between my teaching back and forth. Yes, okay. But I do love Devin. He is great. And okay, there's a Dutch annual event called Top 2000. This is created by votes from the Dutch people. Wow, of all ages. Wonderful. The beauty of this is a really nice mix of old and new music and all styles. Yeah, I wish we had something like that here in the United States. I mean, you have to think of this throwback to like 1984, 85 when they had We Are the World. At that time period, there was a real mix of genres, ages, styles, and it's just kind of gone now, unfortunately, for sure. That sounds amazing. And that's because we want to treasure our older musicians. I mean, unfortunately, a lot of people have passed away because they were like so druggy. They didn't make it that long from those drug era, but there's still some musicians that should still be heard. And I think there's a lot of people that feel they aren't relevant anymore. And I think that's really sad. That's all about the youth market in the United States, unfortunately. Yeah. All right. So like Taylor Swift bringing out her old albums. Yeah. Yeah. Well, Taylor Swift, I hope she's exploring. She's still coming into her own. I mean, she's more than in her own, but it'll be interesting to see what she does next, because, the industry doesn't really support people over, I'd say almost over 30, or if over 40, forget it, because it's all about the youth market. They're all about selling records to teenagers. And so teenagers typically want to hear young people, and they're not necessarily going to be interested in what they consider people like their dad. Now, I'll say the only difference with that is in country music, there seems to be a bit more diversity in age in country music for whatever reason. So that's the only place, but I don't hear and see that much with rockers or other genres because it's all about the 12-year-olds. Yeah. Okay, so talking about Eurovision, I love some of the Eurovision songs from the 70s and early 80s. There were many other great songs when ABBA won Waterloo back in 74. Wow, I learned something. Thank you for that so much, Viana. Yes, I didn't know that. So I remember ABBA from my days, and I had no idea that Eurovision has been around that long. That's amazing. There's probably tons of great songs that I didn't know were Eurovision winners. That's fun. Yeah, and unfortunately, I don't know. Maybe in other parts of the world you can see it, but I've never been able to really access it. Unfortunately, I know people say I can get a new VPN and do some techie stuff, but it's a bit beyond my time and skill at this point. All right, so I prefer the Snob. Is that right? Snob 2000, although more prog and metal. That stuff executed by the top. Okay, yeah. So I've just been recently discovering the whole progressive metal and rock scene in that area of the world because I love it. I love it. It's so different than the metal that I thought was metal in the United States. It definitely incorporates more elements of classical music and other sorts of storytelling in a way that's just not kind of greasy, or grungy. Yes. I was studying jazz in that era when the metal was, and I just was not really that attracted to it. But now I've been woken up, and I really appreciate the European style, which is obviously, people have told me that has kind of translated into Japan, that the Japanese metal is kind of inspired by the European metal. That's what I've been told. Yes. Eurovision since 56. Oh my goodness, that is crazy. Wow. See, that's great. And songwriting is so powerful. That's why I did love last season, because I loved, and also the intimacy of singing a song that someone wrote to them. That's tough too, just to stand up for it. But I think that most of the people were really happy. Yeah. So the only person I haven't talked yet of the last season was Wulf. And he was the one that I loved his voice from the beginning, but he seemed a little bit reserved with the group. And I felt like he felt maybe a little intimidated. That's just my intuition, or I'm just what I get. Beautiful voice, but he seemed like he wasn't, I don't know, maybe he was just overwhelmed in the confidence, or overwhelmed with all these people. And I know that Stef Boss is somebody that was somewhat more of a celebrity. So maybe, you felt like, oh, I need to step down. It's hard. It's hard. That's the thing about being a singer, is that it's really easy to watch another singer and watch them and I go, oh, they are so good. And then you're supposed to get up there, and then people go, I don't know if I can do it. So that happens a lot to singers. To follow a really good performance is tough. It's really tough. And for my younger singers, when I would have them do adjudications, I would recommend they don't listen to anybody before they sing. And I had a voice teacher who said the same thing, because if you are going to listen to somebody and then you're supposed to sing next, and you listen to them and you really are overwhelmed by their talent or what they're doing, it can knock you off your center, and it can keep you from being in the moment, because you're still thinking about that performance. And I've had that happen in an audition setting too. And it was not fun. It's hard. It's hard to actually get through that. Let's see. Okay. I really like the 80s and 70s hard rock and metal. Yeah, I think that was like the prime of all the music before it got too electronic. It still was a kind of experimenting with the electronic sounds, but wasn't just jumping off the board and everything was electronic. Some bands from the US were inspired by the pioneering European bands, definitely, and made some wonderful music. Ronnie James Dio, I remember hearing that. Another started with Eurovision, Celine Dion. Cool. Yeah, and I know she just shot to fame, and I know she's Canadian on the East Coast. I can't remember the province at this point, but it'll come to me. Like to see Zora at Blackbriar one of these days in Beste Zangers. Yeah, I don't know these bands, but it sounds like so much music in such a small country. It's crazy. You got more great musicians in a small area. Yes, mid-90s post-grunge initiated a marvelous wave of new music. It was North American, Europe. Tool, yes. Gathering, Radiohead, yeah, definitely. That was a different. It definitely made a change. There was definitely a time. That's unfortunately what I would call my dark era, because when I was having my children, I didn't have TV, and it was before the internet. And so there's a bit of time, I'd say, from 91 to say 95. So the early 90s, I just wasn't around. So, but I like to dig in before that, so I could kind of get in. So once I got the internet, I think it was 1995, then I could go online and research musics, which is great. And there was a lot of things that happened. I was originally on mp3.com, and there's lots of great artists that uploaded their songs, including myself. And what happened, it was shut down because the originators of mp3.com had the idea of the cloud technology, where people could upload their CDs and put them in a cloud, but they were sued and they destroyed the company, which was unfortunately a really great place for indie music. And then someone else used that technology. I know it's pretty evil, but that's exactly what happened. And that happened right after I got online in 1995. And it's been really easy for me to do technology. I don't know why, but it just has worked for me. So I've been online doing things even since that time. Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah, crazy. Yes, the funny thing about the artists of Beste Zangers is that I often know their music, but I didn't know they were Dutch. That is so cool. I basically only knew the music because of, yeah, let me see. I got to fix this. I think I'm missing some of these. There we go. Yeah, I can only do it, but they're basically only knew their music, but not the person. Yeah, that's awesome. And I know that a lot of especially that last show, a lot of people were singing in English, like Millow, and a lot of the singers were singing the music in English, which is great. And the Dutch is great too. Just have your own native language. And I really enjoy studying Dutch because it's kind of a mix of English, German, and French. And it's really, really quirky to me. It has a lot of quirks. It is one of my favorite languages. And I'm really a language geek. And I'm embarrassed to say I'm studying like 10 languages. But I just love them. And it actually calms me down when I'm stressed out. And I can actually study on Duolingo. And it's helpful. It's learning. And my number one language is Swedish, which would make sense because I grew up in a Scandinavian home and I actually went to Sweden, but I've never studied it formally. But it's amazing how much, if you're around the language, it just comes with you. Number two language is German, and I did study that in high school. And then my number three language is French. And I had to learn a little bit of language as a voice student in the United States. You have a class called Diction for Singers, and it teaches you not the languages, but how to understand and decode and pronounce Italian, German, and French. And since I already knew German, that wasn't so hard. French has been hard for me because it's just French. And unfortunately, or fortunately, people have always said that French was so good for my voice as a classical singer. And I ended up singing a lot of classical singing, opera roles in French. I still don't feel like I'm amazing at it, but I did put a lot of time into my French. So that's why I can sing it. Yep, awesome. Okay, let me see. Okay, right. The Beste Zangers show is so cool, where music comes from. I can relate. I blacked out a few years later, juggling time between first jobs and toddlers. Yeah, because we just stopped having cable TV at that time. And so I don't really listen to the radio. I've had other comments, oh, didn't you listen to the radio? It's like, I'm not going to listen to like rock radio when I'm putting kids to bed. See, it's not going to work. So I just kind of missed out on that era. And then, but hey, I'm learning as I go that what I missed. And then I jumped right back into it. Yes. Just tell more nights. 2 more nights. Yes. It's so exciting. And I can't wait to see the songs. And what I usually do is I see what songs are popular, but I'm definitely, of course, we're all want to see Annick, but I'm sure there's some other great singers because, every singer has their own thing. They do. Once you get to a certain point, it's just a matter of taste. So it's no point arguing, but people still like to do it. I don't know why. It's a waste of time. Still waiting for participation of Marjan Velman. Oh yeah, lots of singers, Dutch singers. Awesome. Good. So you've got so much talent. That's so great to keep on going. I'm most looking forward to Roel. So I heard a lot about that. I'll go back. I did listen to the videos, but I don't have everybody's name stuck in my head or their song style. Huge Annick fan. I know it's going to be so great. They'll cover a lot of the Gathering albums and magical melodies that they are from the Gentle Storm. Wonderful. Will you watch the teaser that came out yesterday? Yes, I'll definitely want to watch it. I want to see it. And yeah, just trying to get to know the singers. So the more I can get to know them, the better. And of course, Zora de Cook. Yeah, lots of great singers. Yeah. And, I was trying to think of how many people. I guess there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes. And then, the 2019 season, I loved Emma. Emma was an amazing singer. She actually was another one, kind of like Tabitha, that, you think, okay, she's like but she also had so much integrity, such a talented girl. Of course, Floor Jansen, need I say more? We don't even need to talk about her because we know. Henk Poort, love him. He actually contacted me and thanked me for my reaction videos. And I thought that was so precious. I love that. He was such a nice guy. And I really was impressed by all the genres that he started trying on, and I come from a classical background too, so I get where he's coming from. And most recently seeing him sing with Floor, and it's like, I think Henk has a new career as a metal singer, and it's so fun to watch them sing. Rolf, I loved Rolf as well. I thought he brought something really fun and easy. His Latin singing is beautiful. He was so animated on the show, because he was just like constantly smiling and grinning. I loved him. Ruben, Annick, he was the young guy. And again, I think he probably felt like, whoa, there's so many big people. He's just starting his career. But he was such a sweet and sincere singer. I loved his story about him just busking as a child, well, as a young teen, and getting his songs. He was really amazing songwriter, because I think of all that season, there was songwriters, but Ruben definitely had his own way of songs, and they were really beautiful. And he just was kind of an old soul. But I felt like he kind of, again, had that intimidated, a little bit of intimidation, kind of like Wulf in season. And that's just my speculation. I could be completely wrong. And then Samantha had that powerful sound. I mean, she was that feeling, emotional, big voice singer that just was gorgeous. And then Tim was fun. Tim was definitely that rocker guy. I could see him like the ones drinking on the stage and doing all that stuff, but he had a great voice as well. And he was fun. I know there was some performances that were, the language kind of went out the door, but that's what happens. You see it and it's great. So I love that season as well. Let me see what else. Yes. Roel. Okay, so I'm excited to hear more about Roel. I've heard so many comments about that. And then lots of people don't realize hosts are actually pretty good singers themselves. Yes, a lot of people have told me that those singers understand music. So it really is helpful to be on the shows because they understand it. And a lot of times in American shows, likewise, people that are just celebrities, they're not necessarily musicians. So you get it. And you get what it's like to get out and sing. Because when you sing, it's much more vulnerable. If you're an instrumentalist, not to say, you can screw up or you play the piano, but it's not like the window to your soul that singing is. All right. Let's see. Nick and Simon made a documentary about Simon and Garfunkel and performed their songs. Cool. Yeah. Great. Speaking of great singer-songwriters. Yeah. And then I'm looking at the other seasons, and it looks like season 2018 had Davina Michelle. So I did do a reaction to her with the Eurovision. That one was also blocked, so I had to actually put a picture over it. But what a powerful voice. I really loved her. And then, of course, Maria Fiselier, I think I'm saying that right. She was also amazing. So I probably should listen to some of those singers, because I did listen to those two, and they were great. And then in 2017, that was 2018, I did one reaction there, which is from Tommie, Christiaan, not saying it right, Tania Kroos, and their version of Barcelona, which I thought was almost, well, it's pretty close to the original. They came and brought it really, really big. So I love that. And then, then the next season is Ojin. So I think that was as far back as I went. And I did discover Ojin over the years and love them too. They're just like amazing. So much great singing. How does it work that all these great singers are in such a small place in the Netherlands? It seems like music is everywhere. And that's kind of what we're missing right now, especially in the United States. And because the United States is so big, it's kind of different. There's just a lot of different things going on that are completely different than other states. So it's kind of really weird here. All right. Yes. Yes, everybody, including our lovely. Yes, you can tell that I am thirsty. So yeah, I got a drink. I keep talking and reading, but I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I'm like, can't wait to see what's going to happen. Nick and Simon did another documentary on ABBA. Wow. Are Nick and Simon, is that a Dutch show? Is that where they're coming from? So I'd love to hear it. The documentary from Nick and Homeward Bound is really amazing. It's a good way for you to watch it. Awesome. Yeah, I'd love to find out. And some shows will actually have English translations, but not always. I think when certain TV shows are really focused on that country, they don't always have translations, but at least I can recognize more and more words like totsiens, stuff like that. It's pretty basic baby stuff, but it's okay. Yeah, and very exciting. Yes, they were last year's hosts. Okay, good to know. Yeah, they did great. I know that the original host was not there last season, but looks like they're really, really helpful. And what I like about them is that they really allow the singers and people, they're not getting attention to themselves. And that's the thing I see about the American TV shows like The Voice, is that it's bringing people back to these judges and all about their one-liners or something. And I don't really care for that. I like to see the real stories. That's why I really love Beste Zangers, because the hosts really allow people to talk, and they can drive the conversations, but they're not controlling it. They're letting the story open up in a more organic way. Yeah. So this year, Jan will be back from his burnout and presenting Eurovision. That's a lot of work. And Nick and Simon were their last year's host. Awesome. This is so exciting. Now I didn't realize it's afternoon. Or for me, it's 12 noon. For me, it's probably 9 o'clock or 9:05 for you guys. So I should probably say goodbye because I have some other things to do. And I'm just so excited that I finally was able to talk about the seasons that I've done. And I will do more live streaming. I think this time seems like it works pretty well for the European group or people on that time zone. So that's really great. And yeah, super excited. I'll be watching with you guys. Probably not live because it's probably going to be not in the middle of the night. But I can't wait to join you and this new season. It's going to be so, so exciting. Awesome. And thank you so much for welcoming me to the Dutch culture. And, I'm not a Dutch person, but I do appreciate it. I'd love to go there someday and love the Dutch music for sure. And I'm excited to make more videos for you guys. Okay, let me see what else. There is a few more. Thank you. I'm going to have a big day. Keep an ear out. Fun fact, Jack and Nick and Simon all come from Rotterdam, not sure, Holland's vocal incubator town. Wow, such a great singing culture. All music is equal, just like all people. Yes, totally agree. Real music is always be relevant. And just the music that comes, there's beautiful music from all over the world. Pakistan, I've just recently found some of their music, and I'm just like, so gorgeous. And it's have you seen the water drum? That's crazy. I love it. It's beautiful. Yes. See you next time. And we'll talk after the first show. All right. Take care, you guys. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here today. And I look forward to talking to you guys again. All right. Love you. Much love.